Our next speaker is Michael Patterson. Michael is the CEO of U.S. Cannabis Pharmaceutical Research and Development, LLC. It's a privately held developmental consulting firm that was established in 2014 with the mission of moving society forward through legalized cannabis. U.S. Cannabis develops the legal cannabis, hemp, and CD markets globally across all platforms, meaning education, cultivation, production, dispensing, research and development, management, operations, compliance, and physician services. U.S. Cannabis currently works with national, state, and local governments, sovereign nations, and public and private companies in all aspects of the cannabis, hemp, and CBD industry throughout the U.S. as well as internationally. Mr. Patterson is a board member of MGMC Pharma Group, an international medical cannabis pharmaceutical corporation with EU GMP cannabis cultivation, production, and export distribution licenses in 6 African countries. Michael is an internationally recognized speaker, subject matter expert in global cannabis, hemp, and CBD industries, and a published author. Michael is a member of the Scientific Advisory Board for Acres Bioscience, a NASDAQ-listed biotech company. He's also involved with the International Cannabis, Hemp, and CBD Subject Matter Expert Mission at GLG Group, the Gerson Lehman Group, which is an international investment consulting firm. And he's an editorial board member for the AJEM, American Journal of Endocannabinoid Medicine. And this is the world's first peer-reviewed printed scientific journal dedicated to the study of the endocannabinoid science in medicine. Mr. Patterson is also a board member of the Medical Cannabis Society, the Tourette Syndrome Awareness Foundation, and he is a writer on cannabis, hemp, and CBD for Florida MD Magazine, Orlando Medical News, and he's a licensed occupational therapist and nursing home administrator in 4 states, New Jersey, North Carolina, Virginia, and Florida. So Michael, we look forward to your remarks.
Michael, you're currently not working right now, sound-wise.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry about that, technical difficulties. So thanks so much for being on. I've got 15 minutes, so I'm going to try to get to it as quickly as I can, what we're dealing with. And can everybody see my screen? Okay. So just a little bit about, first thing I want to talk about is trust. If you've been in this industry for a while, trust is the #1 thing that I see in this industry that everybody's looking for. This is a new industry, so you have to figure out who you're dealing with when it comes to business and how they operate. So that's one of the things that if you can figure out trust and you can in your products and you can sell trust and back that up, you're going to do very well. So a little bit about me, and Carrie introduced me. I've been in healthcare all my life, 26 years. I've run pharmacies, laboratories, nursing homes in excess of $230 million, and done a lot of education. Down there is me and Sanjay Gupta. Got to meet him at a conference a few years ago, which I love to do. A little bit about what I've done, a lot of writing, working for the American Journal of Endocannabinoid Medicine. I've worked with Dr. Sandra Carrillo on that, which I'm very excited to work with her and her knowledge, and do a lot of advising and consulting. A little bit about what U.S. Cannabis does. I like to tell people we're a general contractor for the industry. We deal with a lot of the choke points in the industry, and some of the stuff we've done is of course, advisement on for publicly traded deals, investment categories, corporate compliance through Restore Integrative Wellness, which is out of Philadelphia. It's 6 dispensaries in the Philadelphia region. We actually help with writing of rules and laws. We assisted the state of Oklahoma in their medical cannabis law. And one of the large projects we're working on right now is a new Silicon Valley for the world based out of Florida. Florida. It'd be 100 miles by 60 miles, where we really need to be able to bring this industry forward on a global scale. And so you'll start to hear more about that in the next couple months and into 2021. Some of the companies that we work with right now, UBS, United Bank of Switzerland, we've done some work with them, as well as in the middle there, Confederated Tribes of the Colville Nation, which is in Washington State. We consulted with them on a hemp and cannabis program for the state of Washington. Green Man Cannabis in the middle, we assisted in the sale. They're out of Colorado, working with them. And then over on the far right corner, we did some education for the FBI, Florida State Sheriffs, as well as Florida State Police on medical cannabis, which was very odd, if I must say, because dealing with all these people with guns in the audience, over 200 people, and being a cannabis guy, it was interesting, to say the least. But as we move forward, we're going to have to educate law enforcement on this, as well as if you look in the middle, Acres Bio, that's a NASDAQ publicly traded company that I'm currently a scientific advisory board member with. Two of the companies I want to point out real quick, MGMC Pharma is based out of the Seychelles, and we currently operate, I'm on the executive board there. We currently operate out of Lesotho. We do have 5 licenses in Africa. We were able to pull over a distressed asset with Canopy Growth. When they pulled out of Africa in April of this year, we were able to come in and sign a long-term lease in their facility in Lesotho, and we are actually shipping EU GMP, THC, and CBD products today, actually. We actually have 15 kilos that are shipped today. They're going to be arriving in Sydney, Australia tomorrow morning. And then we have product going into the EU in October and just next month. And so also Paytrax, if you're a cryptocurrency investor, you really need to understand what Paytrax is. So Paytrax is in the final stages of getting their US SEC no action letter. If you're unfamiliar with a no action letter, it's the right to through the federal government to use cryptocurrency as a digital currency. So they should be getting this no action letter in October of this year. We've been working with them for 4 years. They've been working on this project for 10 years. So it'll be the third one in US history. And so our role in this in US cannabis is we're going to do the beta test, which is going to be in the state of Oklahoma, to be able to try to decrease the amount of cash that's in the system. If you're unfamiliar, Oklahoma has over 10,000 licensed cannabis businesses, and cash is a very big problem. So we want to try to fix that. And so Paytrax is going to be starting in the beginning of 2021. Some of the partnerships we have, these are some of the companies that you need to watch out for, because these companies are coming up strong. In the bottom left corner, Integrated Compliance Solutions, they're going public on the Canadian Securities Exchange any day. So if you find them, they currently service most of the banks in the United States. They write the software that banks use to take marijuana and cannabis and hemp money. So they own a company right above, Sterling Compliance, and then right in the middle, Greenlight Payments. ICS owns them as well. Greenlight Payments is the largest payment processor in the United States for hemp and cannabis businesses. Over in the far right, Parcel. They're out of Australia. For our Australia people on the phone, a Parcel is a blockchain seed to sale software that is set up for international trade. We're getting ready to start using them in Lesotho, and they're starting to be used in California. And then we also applied for medical cannabis license in the state of West Virginia. And so they will be coming into West Virginia with us as well. Simploy, if you need HR services for hemp and cannabis, they are functioning or servicing that market here in the United States. So definitely look them up and give them a call. And then Hemp Synergistics is a hemp provider process provider out of Pittsburgh. So just a little backstory on how we've gotten here in the hemp game. In 2018, we did 80,000 acres of hemp. In 2019, the United States manufactured or actually grew over about 500,000 acres. Only about 250,000 of that was actually processed for multiple reasons. But to me, the big reason was you had a lot of people doing what they weren't experienced farmers. And I think a lot of that did not do well when they were growing it, as well as we didn't have the capabilities and the infrastructure to handle all the processing needs. So a breakdown of how hemp and CBD is typically used in the retail side. If you notice, tinctures and topicals are very big. What we expect to happen in the futures is we think tinctures are going to go down just a little bit, and we're going to see topicals and capsules as well as gummies and edibles start coming up. CBD is going to be staying as an ingredient in multiple products, and so we're going to start to see it used in different ways. The frequency of use here in the United States, If you look at the top level, which says daily, about 20% of the United States uses CBD in some way, shape, or form on a daily basis, which is a huge number. And we see those numbers continuing to increase because, like I said before, CBD will be used more of an ingredient moving forward and not a standalone product. Some of the benefits of dealing with the U.S.-based market is it's rapidly expanding. There's a very low barrier to entry, and that's a good and bad thing. And a high quality of cost. Right now, what we're seeing globally is the United States makes very good hemp-based products because we've been doing it for a very long time. Europe is starting to catch up, but right now, the U.S. has a very good stable of very good CBD products and cannabinoids. And also, you can physically go and meet the manufacturers as well as go to the farms and actually see the product. Industrial uses of hemp, I think we all know this is going to be a growing field and growing area. Can be made in over 25,000 different products. Some of the challenges of the local markets here is it's expanding dramatically. There's a very low barrier to entry. Anytime you have a low barrier to entry, you have a ton of people getting into the industry. So that's one of the challenges because we start to see an oversupply. The market hadn't balanced out yet. So we're still seeing that shakeup in the industry. We're seeing profit margins dramatically decline. CBD isolate right now in the United States, we're seeing between $400 and $600, where 2 years ago it was over $3,000 a kilo. So you're seeing a lot of different things, and as well as evolving regulation. If you're looking at the countries across the world right now, the United States, in my opinion, is starting to lead. These numbers are based off of 2019. Europe is starting to come up in their production. A lot of things that we're, of course, in Latin America. One of the countries I want to put a spotlight on is Colombia. Colombia is going to come on very strong with their production of hemp and CBD. So it's something to look at if you're an American from a pricing aspect about imports coming in. Countries where CBD is legal. This is an evolving group. As you can see, all the green is legal and the red is illegal. Some of these European countries are now legal. Projecting forward, you're starting to see a lot of green come across. We expect that CBD and hemp to be used and become legal in most countries within the next 5 to 10 years. And the regulation will continue to increase, but being able to import and export hemp and CBD, we hope to make a little bit easier moving forward. Countries where hemp and CBD are legal, it's a long list, as you can see. For Americans, you need to understand when you're exporting to Europe, the standards is 0.2% THC in most countries. Switzerland, though, which is not part of the EU, is 1.0 THC, but some countries are down to 0.001 or some ungodly number of low THC. So the holy grail, in my opinion, of somebody who ships overseas is 0.0% THC, because that way you don't have to worry in that respect. So benefits of using the international markets. If you're a U.S. player right now, you have a better quality of product right now in the U.S. to ship over. The reputation is pretty good in the States. So a lot of people know the U.S. makes good product. You can build that brands. And right now that you can make money because there's higher margins over in Europe if you can get it shipped over there. Another thing we're starting to see, especially in Germany, is more of a socialized medicine. And that hasn't hit specifically for hemp and CBD. It has in some cases, but that's a positive for the market. Some of the challenges of international shipping in international markets is the regulations constantly change. If you guys are listening in Europe right now, you know that better than we do. And also the ability to import. We have to deal directly with the import groups and the customs people on our products when we ship them in. We've made the mistakes of not telling everybody what we're shipping, and then it gets stuck in customs for a month or two, or you could lose the product. So also you got to find partners who are trustworthy. When they send you a purchase order, you got to be able to verify them because banking and merchant processing, we're going through that right now. When we start to do international business, the American banks get nervous. So that's another area you have to have a challenge with. Some of the regulation moving forward. Right now, the UK and Germany are sticking on novel food status, and you have to apply for that. So if you're a CBD company here in the States, you've got until March of next year to bring your products in. After that, you're going to have to partner with a UK or European novel food provider, unless you're going to go out and do novel food from the States. It just depends on how you're going to do that. Right now, globally, EU or European Union Good Manufacturing Practices is the standard. Right now, I do not know of any EU GMP providers in the United States. If you are a provider, please get with me. I need to talk to you because a lot of people want EU GMP product in Europe that comes from the States. We do have a lot lot of good manufacturing practices, certified people here in the States. But for you Americans who don't understand the difference between EU GMP and GMP, basically Europe is special. So they have to have their own certification. And one of the things that I see is, since America is so late to the game, we have to abide by all the standards that have been already set. So that is one of the downfalls of us getting in late. And so Europe is driving this train, and we have to get on board. Also, the mandatory lab testing, one of the things you're going to notice is some of the lab testing is not consistent when it comes from the States to Europe or Africa or Australia. And so you're going to have to work through to deal with that to get third-party COAs. When you're getting to the business, choose your white label manufacturer. If you want to get over to the States, if you're going to supply a raw crude or CBD and ship it over, start working on those relationships. Right now, Maha Labs, which is based out of Colorado, they do have operations in Europe. So there's somebody who could potentially provide product to if they do need product here in the States, and they can ship that over. Also, how to get involved in the international hemp and CBD business. You really got to read. I would encourage everybody to attend as many virtual conferences like we're on now, and eventually in real life conferences. I've gotten, from our company, we've gotten a lot of business from me speaking overseas. And I'm definitely appreciative of that. I love to deal with people overseas because we're all dealing with this in different levels of stages of development. And then the number one thing I can tell you right now, LinkedIn. You really need to get on it. Dr. Sandra Carrillo and I compete because she's above me in the number of followers, and I always look at her to try to compete with her to go. But you're going to start to meet a lot of those people. I would say probably 70% of our business is started off of LinkedIn in that respect. So I'm available for questions if we have time.